Hi, everyone. Welcome to the very first episode of the Great British Design Podcast.
Yeah.
My name is Nick Trod, and I'm here with my co hosts today, Harry Ray and Andy Smith.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know if you
Hello.
guys want to say a little bit about yourselves.
What shall I start?
Yeah,
Yeah,
go on.
go for it.
Okay. Again, my name is Andy. I am technically not a designer, as my job title goes, but I do a lot of YouTube design work, some stuff on Instagram, and that's kind of me. Designs. Woo.
It's
Nice.
kind of you. Short and sweet.
That's it.
Yeah.
Short and sweet.
Just a quick one.
All right then. Well, I'm Harry. I studied product design with these two at Portsmouth. That's where we did our bachelor's. Then I went on and did a course at Brunel University in engineering, advanced engineering design. So slightly more technical side of design. And I'm currently working as a design engineer in a very small company in the digital signage industry, learning whatever I can in that, which is good. Outside of work, I like photography, which I'm sure will come up
Mm-hmm.
more than once in our talking.
100%.
And I guess I'm into surfing and things like that.
And a bit
That's
of games.
Bit of games, nothing wrong with a
Couple
bit of games. Yeah,
Couple games.
yeah. How about you, Nick?
Nice. Well, yeah, again, my name is Nick Trod. Again, I've met these two when we studied product design at University of Portsmouth. I am currently a freelance industrial designer or product design, whatever the word is called nowadays, I don't know. And when I graduated, I got a job in like a small lighting startup. So I worked there for just about a year doing product design. And then I moved into a design engineer role where I had to design wood burning stoves and outdoor furniture. And I was made redundant just because the industry wasn't great and obviously COVID started. And since March last year, I've been a freelance industrial designer. So yeah, trying
Nice.
to get new clients and pay the bills.
I feel like I should have gone into more detail.
Oh,
You
can if
guys,
you want,
you
mate.
guys, you guys
you
wanted
could
more
swing back
detail
into
than I
it.
did. I just scoot back in. So yeah, after leaving university, I became a project engineer. So it basically means I get to use all the programs, but none of the designing. So it's not so fun, but it means that I do have a passion for design, and it comes out in my free time.
You're an expert at Excel now, though.
Oh,
That's
Excel,
always good.
Excel's my boy.
You excel.
I excel at
He
Excel.
does,
I
he
know all
does.
sorts of shortcuts. But yeah, so there was probably a year's period after leaving university where I didn't really do much design, apart from I did a lot of sketching, but that was it. And then getting back into the 3D modeling and the rendering and all sorts was a nice wake up call. And now I'm back on the hype, and yeah, I'm looking forward to doing more with this podcast, some more YouTube content, and just having a fun time.
Well, if you had any struggles with it, you didn't really show it, so that's always a good
Nah,
thing.
it was only a couple of days. So I had like a week off, and I was just like, let's just download Creo and get back on that. Get back on that grind. It's fun. It's fun. I tell people at work I do 3D modeling for fun, and they're like, "What? What are you on about?"
Yeah.
3D modeling for
It
fun.
makes people
Yeah.
sick. You're like, oh,
Yeah,
you're
they're like, you do 8 hours of
designing your
work,
free
and then
time.
you go home and like do more. I'm like, yeah, obviously. Come on.
It's not so bad when it's fun.
Exactly. I do enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
and
that's
also
something
you've
that
been-
people don't get, isn't it? When they're like, what do you mean you do stuff outside of work? Like,
I know,
Why do you think I
that's such-
studied design? I
It's
enjoy
mad,
it.
isn't it? Like on my LinkedIn, it says that I'm a graphic designer for Moose Design. Then like the GM of my company came and said, "Oh, you do design kind of thing on the side."
Yes.
I'm like basically plugging myself as that rather than my
Do you
actual
have
job
a
role.
job for me? Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, you've been smashing YouTube recently as well, Andy.
Yeah, I say
Smashing it,
I
putting us to
I
shame.
started. I started in the summer doing design. I mean, I've done YouTube for like 10 years,
Yeah,
But
I was going to say, you just started the design side of
I
it
started the
recently.
design side six months ago. We did an angle poise lamp project at university, which is all of our favourites.
Again, a topic
Again,
that will keep coming
yeah.
up
Right,
probably.
too right.
So I redesigned that one. I basically, yeah, chucked me in at the deep end, did everything, did some sketches for it, did the design, tried Blender because we don't have access to Keyshot because it costs all sorts of moolah.
So
and
sad.
that's a learning curve, isn't it?
And that was a learning curve.
Yeah.
But to be fair, the Blender update, the one after we first downloaded it, is so much better. When we first downloaded it, it was just impossible.
Yeah,
But no,
they
it's
made
good.
it look a lot nicer, which helps, and you
Definitely.
actually know where to import a model and stuff, which is
UI
always
was
nice.
shocking, wasn't it? Oh my
Yeah,
god.
I remember looking like, how do I get rid of this cube that they give me to start? I don't know what to do.
Yeah, I didn't know
Surely
that.
just press delete. No?
Yeah, so that's a learning curve and a half, but once you get it, you get it. So
Yeah, exactly. Well, what the point of today's podcast? It's more of just an introduction into who we are, which we've done, and what we're planning on doing, what we're planning on talking about, and the reasons for doing the podcast in the first place. So, yeah, I mean, does anyone want to jump in and say what to expect on the podcast? Anyone?
Yeah.
I can talk.
Yeah.
Go, Harry.
Well, the reason we started the podcast was because whenever we have our weekly catch-ups, well, probably more frequent than that, thanks to lockdown, we would just be talking about design stuff anyway, like what we're up to, what's going on, like anything interesting. So that's sort of something that we really wanted to bring forward and make a podcast because if it's something that we're interested in, I'm sure other people who are into design would also be probably interested in listening to something, even if we ramble and go off topic all the time.
We definitely
That's
will.
that's all part of it. But yeah, that's sort of we're probably each episode we're probably gonna give a little update of sort of what we're looking into in design or what we've been doing recently,
New
what
projects.
we're working on. Yeah, it's just sort of interesting to see what the other two, in my opinion, what they're doing, and that might inspire people to want to do stuff as well.
Yeah.
We're gonna be talking generally about design. That could be any new products coming out. If there's a new iPhone, I'm sure we will talk
The
about it as
Apple
well as
hype.
anyone else.
Yeah,
in
of course.
design.
Any Apple products.
Yeah, exactly.
Apple fanboy here, so it's definitely
Yeah,
happening.
it's on the checklist if you study design, I think. But so we're going to be doing things like that. And also, I think we're going to talk a fair bit about our sort of experiences as a student, how we found university, things that would be helpful for university, because that's something obviously we're all 3 years out of university.
Almost 4,
Um,
Harry. Well, I
yeah,
think
okay.
you're
3
3.
for
I
me.
think.
3
4 for
or
you.
3.
almost 4 for us,
It's
right?
4 for us.
So I did the extra year.
4
so
years, mental.
That's not that long ago, though, in the grand
no,
scheme
it's
of
not.
things. So the university experience and how we found it is relatively fresh for us still. So
Yeah, definitely.
things like that, I think, are good. We're going to talk about probably the state of Instagram and things like that.
It's always a fun
I
topic.
think for students, I wish that I branched out more and looked up more about our course online, things like YouTube, podcasts, Instagrams,
The
things.
best lecturer you will
Like,
ever have.
yeah, I mean, obviously we'd look up like this random dude which has shown how to do a spline and stuff, but like proper how you should lay out your portfolios, how you should present your work, how much detail do I need to go into about this, how to just everything. Like we didn't really know, and yeah,
We went in blind,
the
didn't we?
lecturers didn't tell us, so we basically
No, definitely not.
our course all kind of came together and taught each other, and that's just something which I think we could teach people that are doing it now if they don't have a course, a university course that like actually help each other, because apparently we were one of the first at our university.
That's what I was going to say. I think we were really lucky in the fact that our group, we all worked together and it wasn't really a competition. Whereas I had friends on a load of different courses, even similar, like mechanical engineering. And, they may sound different, but they do all the same sort of project work and things like that, group work projects, and none of them work together. They're all seen as a competition. And in design, where everyone's, you could try and copy someone else, but it'll turn out different because you each have your own design flair, you have your own take on things. So actually helping each other and working together is such a beneficial tool for design students, and there's really no reason not to.
Also,
so yeah, like some courses won't be like that. Some design courses really will not be like that. So having someone or some place that you can sort of go to and talk about these things is only going to be beneficial, I think.
I find
Definitely.
anything creative like design, you take aspects from everything you've seen, you take aspects of it. So like you say, Harry, you're not ever copying anybody, really, even if you are kind of half working together on it. It's
Yeah, I think what do they say is like artists always steal from other people. If you like directly just copy one person, yeah, you're stealing from them. But if you steal ideas from like 10, 15, 20 different people, it becomes your own idea anyway. So that's just
It's
how
what
you're
all designers
inspired
do.
by stuff.
Yeah,
And I guess in
everyone does it.
design, you're inspired by not just design things, you like music, TV, and anything that brings you personal inspiration that can transfer into your design. So, and that's
And it's very
as you said,
important as
like
well.
it's not something that ever gets talked about at uni. I feel like we always had to just come up with mood boards of like a specific product and then just try and gain inspiration from that.
I mean, there is a time and a
So,
place for a mood board.
oh yeah, yeah.
I can't see I've particularly
so
ever
not every
got
time
much
though.
use.
Not
love a
every
good mood
time.
board.
I
I
think
never really did
mood
them. I just did them
boards.
when they were like, right, you're doing a mood board and you get marked. And I was like, okay, I guess I'll do a mood board then. I never wanted to.
Mood boards are really good for graphic design when you want certain colors and whatever. You're like, oh, this really pops out of this logo, whatever. But for product design, like, it's very
I think it's
rare.
quite dated to me.
It's very rare. I mean, you can take inspiration from things, obviously, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I'd only really use it if I'm trying to reference like certain textures, certain materials, certain colors that I liked.
That being
That's
said,
about
though,
it, really, I guess.
at uni, there at the beginning of uni at least, there is a lot of sort of projects with design this in Streamline design or
yeah.
Art Deco design, and a mood board is good for that.
Yeah, true.
That's where
true.
mood boards are good. But
To get
like
the
I said,
feel
I only
of
ever did a
everything,
mood board
yeah.
when I was told to. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely important to learn about design history, and I think every course across the world go into that, and you've always do one project about it. So,
You can't
and
really
I think
escape that.
everyone's designed some sort of streamline lamp or some
A.
something like that, right? So, it's just one of the go-to projects.
I think that would be a good thing to go through is some of like if we can get our work from our projects to kind of talk through if anyone out there has got a similar course to what we were doing and similar units where we can just be like, this is how we tackled this, or maybe this is how you shouldn't tackle it because this is what we did.
Oh, we got plenty of mistakes, I'm sure.
yes, yeah,
That's not a problem. We can show all our mistakes. I'd very happy show some sketchbook stuff and the notes that lecturers gave us. If
Yeah.
that's
Yeah, I
helpful
think
for
it'd
people.
be very useful.
Yeah, and I guess like we're just gonna talk about things we learned from uni, and also just we are as you said, Harry, we're only a couple of years out of uni. We've only been in the industry for a few years. We're learning every day, but we're still making mistakes, and it's important to just continue learning. I think a lot of people come out of education or go into a job and then stop learning outside of that. So they work 8 hours a day, and then suddenly 10 years have passed and you've not really done much. Whereas it's
And
so
also
important.
it's very important for people coming out of uni to realise that you shouldn't know everything. It's okay
Yeah,
to
for
not
sure.
be an expert out of uni. Like you're always going to be improving, and there's always going to be people that you can learn from. So we know that with ourselves. We are far from perfect designers, and we are always trying to get better. And that's all that matters, really.
Exactly.
You keep getting better, you'll be great one day. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much that you're not taught at university. I mean, I can only speak for our course specifically, but it seems like a common thing across graduate students that they don't know some like fundamental things that they're shocked that you don't know this when you go into industry and you start your first year or something. They're like, what do you mean you don't know this? I was like, well, I wasn't told.
I wasn't told
What do you
people
want
look
from
it
me?
up.
Like,
Yeah, no, exactly.
One,
No, I think it's
yeah.
good. Yeah.
There was one thing that got me, whereas we did technical drawings at uni, and we had to do them super in depth, like
yeah,
crazy detail on it. And then one of the fourth years, the ones that went on an extra placement year, he came back and was just like, "Why have you written all this stuff on your technical drawing? Like they don't need all that." And I was like, well, I do to get the marks." And
Yes, exactly.
that is
That's something else
one problem.
from uni.
Is
Uni, there's an awful lot of checking boxes
yeah,
that
definitely.
you need to do, and you can. We found that, especially with university stuff, a lot of it isn't actually necessarily based on how good your design is. It's how, because most of the work is based and marked on how you justify your design, how you talk about why you did everything. Which is exactly what you're saying, Andy. When you're doing technical drawings, you just put everything on there. It doesn't matter if it's needed.
Yeah.
You're proving that you can use that tool, or that you can put a tolerance
Exactly.
dimension on a drawing, because you literally get a tickle for that, and then you're like, oh, that's a mark.
Yeah.
So things like that are really good to know, or not know. But yeah, really good to know that it's very different when you come out of university and you're like, oh, what do you mean I do a basic drawing in Cinema step file and they have all the information? What do you mean?
And also, they're just like, what the hell's a step file?
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't know exactly what format I needed to even upload a 3D file when I first graduated.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah,
mean,
they don't tell you anything.
no.
Yeah, but that was the biggest one. You're like, oh, so they're just putting it into a CNC machine. They just look at the step file. It's like, oh, yeah, you only use the drawings for quotes. You like, they look at the general size. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, and I went through exactly the same thing as you, Andy. Is going into like sheet metal, you give your 2D drawing to the lads on the workshop, and they're just like, "What the hell's all this information, mate? I just want this and this." I was
Where
like,
do I need to
okay.
cut it, mate? Yeah.
I was like, all right, fine. It just looks so plain. Like you need some more dimension, surely. It's like, nah, mate, I just want this. I was like, all right.
Yeah.
Cheers, Dave. Right.
Yeah,
Classic
and that's something I
Dave.
definitely wish I knew. Definitely wish I knew before uni, just the extent of what you need to make things. Like for manufacturers, they
Yeah.
need a lot less than uni seems to tell you.
Definitely.
So, have we got anything else on this agenda?
Oh, I don't know. I think that's. I mean, we just covered a large range of pretty broad things.
Yeah.
But
and we went on a huge tangent, as
I mean,
expected.
of course,
Standard.
yeah.
Standard.
That's very standard for us. But yeah, I think it's basically just good. There's a lot of things that we're going to be talking about, like the state of sort of how Instagram, things are portrayed on Instagram is just not healthy for new designers at all.
Big talk. I think we could talk multiple episodes about that.
That
100%.
that comes up in our
2 hour
personal
podcast.
conversations an awful lot.
It
Because
does.
there's just I mean, everyone knows about the Instagram that everyone's life looks perfect on Instagram anyway.
Yep.
And it's the exact same with people sharing their work on Instagram.
I think that's
that's something that we definitely don't really like, because it can put you down. So that's something we'll probably talk about in relative depth.
So that's another reason for kind of doing this, is we want to get relevant, proper information out there to anyone that's willing to listen.
All three listeners and my parents. Yeah.
For the few views we've got
Yeah.
That's it. I mean, I think
so far.
yeah. I mean, I think something which I always kind of struggled with when I was at uni is everyone has their own style, and I didn't like mine because it was really rough. And then when I got better, I could become more of a perfectionist, and then I didn't like that because being a perfectionist sucks. So now I'm back to rough stuff, even though I have the ability to do more, but it's just so much better.
The age-old problem of artists hating their own work.
Yeah, that's just something. Being too
never
perfect
satisfied.
is I don't like it.
I would say that I definitely haven't found my style yet. Like
Yeah,
I
well,
think
it'll
I'm still
change,
taking
it'll
inspiration from other
change.
people.
You've
I'm a
got
fan
lot
of the whole
time to find.
minimalism stuff, but at the same time, sometimes it is, it's depending on who you're working for, I guess. But when it comes to like sketching and that, I still don't really have a style. I just kind of I'm
Well,
still learning to sketch
but
properly. So I
at
mean,
the
I'm
end of the
still just
day,
copying people.
sketches are literally just a tool to put forward information. They don't need
like
to
my
look
video.
pretty. Just like there's
Just like
certain
my video.
YouTubers
It was,
uploaded a video.
yeah. I mean, that's why I did it. But you don't need a fancy thing. Like if I'm going to show you two guys something, I'm going to show you some scribbles from my notebook. Like you don't need me to spend 2 hours on a fancy render to get the idea across. I could just tell you, it's going to be wood finish. I don't need to spend ages like.
Just, you draw it rough and do a little label saying
exactly
Labels
wood. Like
oh, there we go.
doesn't need anything.
Rather than trying to render it in wood,
Exactly.
take an hour
It's
doing
just
it.
just not worth it. So
It's just like to start a conversation, isn't it? And I
Yeah,
think
there's a time and
as
a
you
place
said,
for a
it's
fancy
like
thing.
the rough sketches when you're just kind of speaking internally, maybe with your team or other designers, they can be as rough as you want them to
it
be,
doesn't matter.
and as long as you can just chat about them, that's fine. Like it's all about minimizing the time you spend on these drawings. If you're spending like 2 hours on a sketch, you're doing something wrong. You're going to get fired from your first job.
I'm trying to explain something to my boss about a small part, and I'm doing their shading in the corners, making it look all nice, doing the line weighting. He'll be like, "What are you on about? It's an L bracket." Like, do you know what I mean? It's like,
So I
an hell bracket, man.
I think these fancy sketches and stuff that you see, most people, if they put in enough time, could actually get that outcome. It's just you don't realize how much time and effort people have put into learning that first of all, and then doing like a 2-hour sketch, and you're just like, oh.
Exactly.
No.
there is a time and a place, but especially these days, I feel like in any particular industry, no one is really going to be doing a full hand render
There's no point.
for stuff. If you'll be modeling the thing anyway, why don't you just do a quick like digital render?
Exactly.
And you're
I
just
mean,
like,
Yeah.
like,
the
there's
sketches.
a time and a place for it, but really,
Yeah,
I don't feel like many industries are going to be wanting you to do a proper full sketch like that.
No, I mean definitely not.
It's
I think
not time
I
efficient.
have done some half decent sketches with a light bit of marker, but again, it's nothing special. It's just to kind of show the color, and that's it. That's kind of
Yeah,
how I
you
presented
can
some
put
work. But
some quick markers on something just to like show the depth of something, or the general shape. Markers help for that a lot, but
Probably only
get a
need
full render.
Yeah,
use a
just
bit of
one.
one
then
color, one and done.
one and done. Yeah.
a little bit of marker,
I
some
wish-
arrows.
I wish I knew that at uni. You can get some nice one and dones. But
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
problem, I do think the problem at uni, like we were quite lucky because we weren't in kind of competition. We just helped each other. But I do still think that you look at other people and what they're doing, and then you judge yourself very harshly, don't you? Like, oh, I can't sketch like this. I'm not a good designer, or I can't do this. I'm not a good designer. And then you kind of realize as you get a bit older that there's some, which we were told at uni as well, but some of the top best designers in the world, they can't sketch. Their drawings are trash, and they're still
Some
designing
are
some of the
so
best
bad.
products in the world.
Yeah. I mean, you can Google it.
Yeah.
There's so many famous designers at massive famous design brands that really just do a little scribble, but they're obviously good enough at telling people, or explaining what the design is in whatever way they do it, if it's verbally or whatever, and they can still make something great. It doesn't need to be a piece of art to just say what your idea is,
Exactly.
And that's something that we were not told at uni.
no, I say especially if
Well, we
you're like,
weren't told enough.
especially if you're like a proficient at CAD or physically making something, then it doesn't matter.
Mm.
That's
Exactly.
the outcome.
Yeah. think is there anything else you want to talk about on this first episode? Again, this is just
Nice.
going to be quite a short and sweet podcast. Just we have
A little
bit,
pilot.
but
A little pilot.
yeah,
I
pilot
don't think so. I
episode.
think that's everything we set out to
Yeah, I
to
feel
say
like
to begin with.
if we go talk about another potential topic we might talk about, we will do another 10-minute segment on that right now, and we should
Yeah.
probably save that for
I
an
think so.
episode rather than stealing future episodes.
I
for
feel
now.
like we've dabbled in like 3 or 4 different episodes already.
Deeper than we wanted to.
That's fine though. That's fine.
So,
Yeah,
That-
that's just a sign of what's to
What's to
come.
come.
I hope you've seen we can talk about this for days.
Oh,
It's just-
we'll
it's just-
loop
it's just-
around.
It's just
keep
what
going.
we do. We actually talked about this yesterday. We meet up, couple of beers in, doing press ups, talking about design.
Podcast.
I can't think of a better night, to be
Design
honest.
press-ups.
That's literally it.
That was on the whitelist. Very close.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's other people that
Right.
do that, right?
Oh,
Surely.
design and
Can't
press-ups.
just be us.
Well, for every failed product to the market, do like 1,000 press-ups or something.
Oh Jesus,
No.
we'll be shredded.
Oh man. Yeah. I mean, some of our products are good.
Some.
Some minor
I'd like
problems
to
with
think
them,
more
but,
than some.
but that wasn't down to me, so it's all good.
Oh, that's a future episode, surely.
So, yeah.
Nick and his design mistakes. That's perfect.
Yeah, I mean, I said earlier on, I've got like one horror story, which is hilarious.
Yeah, no, we'll save that one. We'll save that.
Save
one.
that. Yeah.
Halloween 2021. The Great British Design Podcast special.
I'll
Saying it
try
right
and
here,
get
episode
one.
I'm calling it right now. Okay, episode 1.
I'll try and get a story story for them, mate. Don't worry.
Yeah, we've got the whole year yet, so.
But yeah, should we have a sign off?
Yeah. Well, thanks for if anyone has listened and got this far. Thank you so much for tuning in. We've got so much to talk about in the future, and we hope you kind of get involved, and maybe you have some thoughts on what you want discussed as well. We're happy to take ideas as well.
Of course, that helps a lot.
So we'll have
And
a-
also, we are very new to this. I don't know if it's obvious, but obviously it'd be great if you did enjoy the sort of things that we might be talking about, those topics, if they're interesting to you. Like, we will be improving this, and it will get more structured. I'm sure of it.
So yeah, we'll
We're
have
getting
comments
better
to
at
the
this.
Twitter account for the what was it called?
Great British Design
GB Design Podcast
Design
on
Podcast.
Twitter.
Design
'cause
Podcast.
Great British Design Podcast too long.
We should
Not
make
taken,
that little
not
speech
taken
a bit
inspiration
smoother
from
next
any
time. Any other Great British
Great
show.
British
Events.
programs.
Definitely not.
Oh dear.
That's fine. It's fine.
Yeah. Well,
Okay, there you go.
thanks for tuning in.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you very much. See you
Right,
later.
right. Cheers. Bye.
Bye.